thanks for staying with us. Customs has continued to brief assembly members on working of the service. Also on Customs reports, the acting controller in charge of Katsina Command speaks on seizure made by his men. Plus, more report. I am Igeseme Itie. Stay tuned. The Custom Management has continued to emphasize on prompt clearance of goods at the ports, border posts, and at the airport. The advice came from the Controller General of Nigerian Customs Service in Abuja. He told the Assembly members that the Customs will continue to implement laws approved by the National Assembly and the federal government.
For the FOU chap, as far as is concerned, that paper you presented did not meet the requisite requirement. That happens sometimes to innocent importers. There are also importers who connive directly with the agents and reduce the duty. And then expect that that paper, when it's out, that is done. It's not like Bible and Quran, no. It's subject to checking. And if we discover that the value of the car that you are riding is not commensurate with the duty you pay, then you question. And let me also say, the issue of saying you buy a car for 180,000 naira or also euro. Cost duty of car is not only the value of the car you bought the car. There's cost of the vehicle, there's insurance, there's freight. All these are calculated to what you pay as duty. So sometimes we need to ask questions before we begin to fight the system. If they give you an amount, ask the customs officer, what is the composition of this amount? What are the subheads that makes up this total? He will explain to you. It's not only because you bought a car for 130 euro, and therefore you will come and just look at the cost of the car and then no. There's insurance, there's freight. All those are calculated and added to the value based on the cost. So you pay. That's what the law says. So it's not that So let us ask questions. I'm sure our officers will be able to explain some of these things. And that's why the issue of underpayment do arise. Because if you compromise, or your agent compromise, in most cases agent, now we have taken the steps in custom to prosecute agents, because we have discovered that agents are cheating importers. They know the correct charges. They will calculate everything and give it to you, and you give them the money. They will go and take that money, and then if you say your car is 2018 or 2019, they will go and reduce that car to 2009, and then say it's accidental. And they know that the value will drop, and they will pay that. And when you bring that car out, and therefore you officer sees you with that car, and you present that document, he looks at the car, it does not meet that description, and therefore you are unable to pay another money. So this is what is happening. This is what is happening, and we are doing the best we can, but always ask the question. And that's why we're trying to automate the system. By e-custom, you can sit in your house. You want to import Mercedes 250E. You will see the freight, you will see what is the insurance on it, what is the freight on it. You calculate your duty. You can pay online without talking to anybody. Then you can ask an agent to go and collect it for you. It makes it easier. We are trying to automate the system. And once that is automated, this discretion will remove completely. And therefore, agents will not, but today, agents are one of our biggest problems. Because they give you a different and they go and do a different thing. And they give you, when they collect the paper, you don't even know which one is genuine, which one is not genuine. As far as we are concerned, you have a genuine custom paper. But by the time the officer looks at it and says it's not genuine, the quarrel will start. How come, is it not from custom that it comes? It might not be from custom. It might not be from custom. So these are some of the things. But we are available for questions. And I want to grab the indulgence of members. If there's an incident that happened where you see that an officer or there's a likelihood of connivance or corrupt activity, please draw our attention. Draw attention. This meeting. I am going to respond to this one after the other. I would first take the chairman's comments on the issue of the budget of 2021 and the need to increase it from the 1.4 trillion to 1.679 trillion. Let me grab the indulgence of the chairman here to say the target set by the federal government every year is based on some parameters. Is not based on an ad hoc computation. First and foremost, the MTEF, which is the budget committee, sits down and look at and do a complete analysis, and then do a projection. And with our own officers, we also sit down and look at what is feasible that can be generated. And Mr. Chairman, I make haste to say this last year, 2020, we are lucky. Despite the COVID-19, we were able to garner this. But as at then, the African Free Trade Agreement did not come into place. African Free Trade Agreement has now taken effect from the 1st of January 2021. And that agreement is geared towards zero duty for all imports coming from member countries within Africa. Imports coming from countries within Africa is a significant percentage in the collection of duty we do. Secondly, Mr. Chairman, if you recall when Ngozi Owela was here, she made mention of the WTO agreement. That also has come into effect, and we are signatory to that treaty. What is also gearing to us is zero duty to the import of member countries. So if we take this into consideration, Mr. Chairman, and I also want to say here that the COVID that we are praying assiduously that COVID subsides. The vaccine is getting on and very well, although many Nigerians are shying away from it, from what I gathered. But hopefully, very soon it will pick up and most of us will be vaccinated and protected against this pandemic. But we must also make sure you understand that a lot of industries outside Nigeria have suffered tremendous injuries with regards to the COVID. So picking up and really producing and of course for our own people to be able to buy these things would take a longer time. So putting all this together, Mr. Chairman, and then when we look at the target, we would crave the indulgence of this committee to understand that we rather tread on fair ground than to be in a haste. We need to take it slowly. 1.4, the last time when the COVID came into place, the government decided to reduce that budget to 1.3 trillion. By God's grace, we were able to get 1.5 total collection. So it is also our hope that if we get anything above 1.4, it will reflect in the collection. But I don't want us to set the target too high, and then at the end of the day, we find it difficult to meet, and we feel somehow that we have not been able to perform. But there are variables, intervening variables, that I want you to take into consideration. And this agreement, by when they fully take effect, they are really going to eat much in our own collection because there will be zero duties. And we cannot enforce it beyond that. We must allow these things to come at that level. So, Mr. Chairman, I want you to take this into consideration in taking a decision as to what amount should be. And appeal that we should return the 1.4, and if anything in the course of the year allows us to collect anything more than 1.4, it will be reflected just like it was reflected in 2021. But I don't want us to be too ambitious, only to fall far short of what is expected. I think the morale of the officers will be sustained if we are able to either meet the target or equal the distance. But if we begin to fall far below because the target is set so high, then there will be a problem. So I appeal that we look at these variables and consider the issue of raising the budget, the target to 1.6. We will return the 1.4, and I assure you anything collected beyond 1.4 will be reflected just like it is reflected in 2020. There's no doubt about that. But our projection...
You are watching the program Customs Report. The Nigerian Customs has uncovered 1,287 cartons of prohibited tramadol drugs concealed in a 1x40-foot container of ties imported into the country. The Customs Board says that the seizure was effected as a result of intelligent gathering from International Security Network as the container was subjected to 100% physical examination.
Our problem is compliance. This unpatriotic citizen or foreigner that imported the container declared the container to us electronically as laden with ceramic tiles. Unknown to him, right from origin, through his transits and transition to Nigeria, this container is being monitored.
So this kind of examination is one of the key aspects of the clearance procedures in Nigeria. He warned importers that making unclear or false electronic declaration will not give them any way of escaping the attentive eyes of the command.
The NICIS 2 procedure of Nigeria Customs Service clearance provide that everything will move seamlessly from declaration to delivery without any hinge. But what we are still lacking and fighting is, we are fighting the unpatriotic citizens and foreigners who are hell-bent on importing illicit drugs and other prohibited items into the country or into Nigeria. No container, no package, no parcel will be allowed to exit on a port without 100% examination.
The drugs were packaged in 120 milligram capsules, 20 sachets per pack and 18 pack per carton. The Customs Area Controller in charge of Upper Customs Command has been speaking on the directives as approved at the clearance of goods at the port. The Controller says that Customs and Upper Command will continue to implement government policies without fear or favor. He speaks on the revenue generation of the command.
About our revenue generation, trade facilitation, export trade, as well as anti-smuggling activities in the command. In the area of revenue generation, the command in the month of April 2021 collected a revenue to the sum of 65,463,398,355 naira.85 kobo. This clearly shows an increase of 25,585,561,139 naira.92 kobo when compared to the collection of the same month in the year 2020. This indicates a 64% increase in revenue collection in the year 2021. This unprecedented record has never been achieved in the history of Apapa Area Command. But God has made it possible in this era with the kind of team we have, we are able to achieve this feat. Laws, trade guidelines, and enforcement of government fiscal policy measures the command was able to further strengthen its anti-smuggling operation against economic saboteurs through credible intelligence-driven operations. This led to the seizure of 4 by 40-foot containers laden with unregistered pharmaceutical goods. That is 674 cartons of tramadol tablet in 225 mg and 120 mg. This is a very high grammage that is dangerous to health. And 805 cartons of codeine syrup in 100 ml at APMT and CPAC's 3 bonded terminal respectively. This importation contravenes Section 46 and 47 of the Custom and Excise Management Act, CAF 45 LFN 2004 of the Federation. Members of the press, it is pertinent to note that these dangerous drugs pose serious threat to health of the citizenry and economic well-being of the country. As such, the command is forced to tackle this menace head-on at any given time. Other items seized in the period under review include 2 cartons of unprocessed wood, 1 container of scrap copperware for intent to export into the country, outside the country. And you know that exportation of the above item is in breach of Schedule 6, Item 4 and 6 of the Custom Common External Tariff. Exportation of the Custom Common External Tariff. The duty paid value of the seized items stood at 1,760,506,363 kobo only. In conclusion, members of the press, these unprecedented achievements were made possible because of the officers' resilience and the tireless commitment to their duties. Nonetheless, we have taken bold such kind of importation which has contravened the appropriate section of the law should not be entertained, and we are ready, battle ready, to stop this kind of importation because it is detrimental to the health of our citizens. And for any right-thinking Nigerian, I don't think such kind of importation should be entertained, or even to bring it, the intention of bringing this thing to destroy some of your citizens. Because this is a destruction of your own fellow human being in the country.
The controller in charge of federal operation in the Zone P has said that smugglers should desist from the act of smuggling in the zone. He was speaking when he displayed some siege items in Kaduna Zone. For that urged importers to always seek clearance of customs for importing goods they cannot explain in the country.
A joint seizure is made. The credit goes to all that participated in making that seizure. So this quantity I mentioned, 513 bags, they are in Ilorin. Secondly, we have 591 cartons of foreign spaghetti and macaroni, valued at 3,513,660 kobo. We also have 360 cartons of pharmaceutical products, valued at 21,710,700 naira. These pharmaceutical products were intercepted around Jos site forest. They are not having the required NAFDAC number. The other item seized is foreign vegetable oil in 25 liters. We have 191 kegs. 191 kegs of foreign vegetable oil in 25 liters, valued at 12,617,221 naira 25 kobo. We also have 76 bales and sacks of second-hand clothing, valued at 17,865,425 naira. We have 70 bags of fertilizer in 50 kg, foreign fertilizer in 50 kg. You know, it's not allowed to come in for security reasons. Anybody who is expected to bring fertilizer will have to be permitted through the issuance of end user certificate from National Security at the Advisor Office. We got it and we seized it. It was valued at 1,580,250 kobo. We also have 27 vehicles. These vehicles are the means of carriage, the means of conveyance. As I said the other time, whenever arrest is made, the content and the means of carriage, which means the motor, all of them are liable for seizure. So we have got 27 vehicles as means of carriage valued at 19,575,547 naira. We also have 20 kegs of PMS, petroleum motor spirit, in 25 liters. This one, because of its combustibility, is very perishable. It was auctioned out immediately as we got it. It was valued at 958,365 naira. Other items include 2 units of used vehicles that you will see outside, valued at 25,891,394 naira 14 kobo. All in all, the total value of this seizure stands at 165,198,544 kobo, naira 32 kobo. I want to say
the Katsina Command has continued to warn smugglers against the importation of rice through the unapproved routes and also approved routes. The acting controller and also deputy controller of customs says his men will always seize and prosecute anybody caught smuggling items into the country.
9 vehicles were intercepted. We have a whole tipper truck. We have one Toyota Corolla 2008 model. We have one main diesel tipper, one used Citroen Space Wagon, one used Honda Accord, used Volkswagen Passat, used Volkswagen Golf 3, used Peugeot 504, and used KC motorcycle. Seized items include 400 rice 50 kg, 486 bags, vegetable oil 25 liters each, 197 jerry cans, cartons of foreign tomato paste 2 kg each, 6 cartons, cartons of foreign spaghetti 304 cartons. Again, we have cartons of foreign couscous 21 cartons, cartons of foreign macaroni 12 cartons, cartons of foreign milk creamer 30 cartons, kegs of PMS 32 jerry cans, and foreign sugar 50 kg each, 98 bags, all totaling the DPB, duty paid value on all of them, 50,378,800 naira. That is the grand total. So we have a lot of strategy we put in place, whereby we try to see how we can be able to block all the ways. At the same time, once you talk about smuggling, it's something that you cannot stop it, but you can suppress it. That's exactly what we're doing. That's why we put a lot of strategies. It was so difficult before we could be able to intercept, because of the way they have a heavy network of information themselves.
The Federal Operation in Zone A has said that it stopped smugglers who plan to adopt a custom officer in the line of duty in Oyo State. According to the customs, the smugglers were on the verge of adopting an injured officer after seizing his rifle during interception of smuggled rice. According to a report, Asnet had taken the injured officers with his rifle. His fellow operatives acted in self-defense to rescue the injured colleague. The acting controller speaks more on seizures made by his men.
It's a long border. Nowadays, they are all the time phone off. If they move to this side, they fail. The next time, they will change route. So it may be coming from across at the same time. But as long as we are there, they will not see the light of the day.
Just before round of this week edition of the program Customs Report, we brought you a report where the controller in charge of Upper Customs Command lectured some importers on how goods are being cleared at the port, and also warned the would-be importers to continue to make sure that they bring in consignment approved by government into the country. For me, Igiseme Ete, thanks for watching.